What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode in the Unleash Potential podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Haji, alongside the boys, Mr. Jabbar, Alvin, Hassan, as always. It's good, my man.
What's going on, man?
I'm chilling, bro.
I'm good.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy. We just had a massive feast, man. I'm happy.
I'm surprised we're actually sitting down, not falling asleep after
that,
man.
I know. It's one of those ones where you eat, you just want to knock out,
you
man.
got the itis.
We gotta push through, man. Get this episode out of the way, man.
Yeah, let's do this.
Absolutely. Weather's not helping, but absolutely we'll do it.
Weather,
it's helping
having
for
a
sleeping,
feast just before. It's a combination where you just want to get on the bed and just knock out for a good 12 hours.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we'll get straight into it, man.
Let's go.
We've got a topic this week, which I struggle with a lot on my own, and it's not something you do intentionally, but it's just out of habit, being a bit too complacent with where you are, right? And the other side of the topic that we're going to touch a bit upon is practice makes perfect, right? So how these two sit on both sides of the spectrum and where you find yourself, all right? First one being complacent, just being okay with the bare minimum that you have. I think a lot of us are stuck in that zone where, you go to work, you pay your bills, you go out Friday night, you see a friend or two on Saturday, and you're happy, and that's where the standard is. That's where you're complacent, and you try. I find myself in the mindset: if it ain't broke, why fix it? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people find themselves in
Exactly.
that.
But then, how do you know what you see as not broke is broke? You know what I mean? How do you see, for example, if you look at your life and you're like, if it ain't broke, why fix it? How do you determine whether your life is actually broke or not?
Well, it depends whether you're proactive or reactive. So do you wait for a situation to occur and then you take action? Or
I think a lot of people,
do you try and get
myself
ahead
included,
of it?
react instead of
and those who are reactive are usually complacent.
100%.
Yeah, so it's all about being proactive. That's what, not being complacent is.
But complacency isn't really a bad thing unless if you have dreams of, because a lot of people will say, like, I want to have these goals and stuff, and then they're complacent in where they're at. That's when it's a negative thing. Some people made it and they're fine with it. They have their house, they own their house, they have their kids, they have a beautiful job, and that's how they want to live the rest of their life, and that's fine if that's where you want to be.
I still think that's not fine.
No, some people, it's fine for some people.
I know it's fine for them, but I don't think that's where you should stop. Like, yes, you have achieved your goals and whatever, but you're still alive.
There's so much more that you can do.
More.
That's true.
You could help others achieve theirs and be an inspiration to other people. Yeah, like there's so much more to do. You don't just stop where you are and just say,
but to
that's
me,
it.
to me, people that reach their goals aren't that complacent. So, like, for example, if I have a great job that I love and I have my house already paid for and I have my family there, that's when you have time to go do what you want to do and help your friends and stuff like that. The people that do have goals and they're complacent when they're at, they're reactive. They're reacting to they don't have that time. They don't have that motivation to go out to seek to do those things. That's when you
do find yourself in that state of complacency. How sweet does it seem? It's just like everything feels okay
for a period of
time.
Yeah.
That period of time, it feels okay. It's like you don't want to disrupt. You don't want to sort of rock the boat. Because when you're in that state, change and proactiveness seem difficult. It takes the form of an enemy.
Well, some people find it difficult. Some people just came from a difficulty, so they would have been money problems or whatever it is. They've overcome that and they're in a okay place, and then they'll be like, okay, let me take a breather, and they stay in that breather. They don't go forward.
And that's the hard part. Yeah,
that's
waking
the hard
up from
part.
that breather.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that little nap in, you got the day off, the Sunday, a lot of people have that on that Sunday. You're sleeping on the Sunday, you have all these plans. Oh, it's a Sunday, it's my day off, I'm going to do all this sort of stuff. And then you go, it's my Sunday, I should relax. You sleep in, next thing you know, you got work in like 5 hours or whatever it is.
What are some signs of complacency for the listeners out there that want to evaluate their life?
We already highlighted one, and that is you're reactive and not really proactive. And two, you're comfortable with where you are now, and you don't necessarily have goals and try to go out and achieve them. Like, it's one thing to just have the goals, but then be where you are. You're okay with your 3 to 4K a month, whatever you're getting, you're okay with that little bonus that you're getting on the side. You're just okay. Like, it's one thing to be grateful right? Don't get us wrong. Like what we're saying is not don't be ungrateful. Or sorry, don't be grateful. Or
but that's the key point.
Take advantage
be
of the opportunity,
but don't be complacent.
Yeah,
exactly. Like the fact that you're alive each and every single day is an indicator that you can do more and you should do more and that you should actually proactively go out and try to do more. A lot of the times, if you look at like companies and stuff like that, a lot of the times they'll get you in a position to be proactive. That's what those are the kind of employees that they value the most. The ones that are proactive and not necessarily
takes initiative.
And the companies that fail are the ones that aren't proactive. They'll have a great business idea, be the first to it, and then stay there while the industry is growing and moving, and then they get left behind.
Like you never know whether you're in a particular industry, if you're working or whatever. Like the taxi companies, for example, did not know that Uber was going to come out. And some of them couldn't adapt. They couldn't change. And some of them weren't proactive and try to get ahead of it and say, you know what, like let me just switch over to Uber or try and do something to... Why? Because they were comfortable where they're at. And a lot of the times you don't know what the future is going to hold. So you have to you have to have trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but tie your camel. And part of tying your camel is not just being grateful where you are, but also doing trying more. To, you know what I mean? I think do a bit more.
One of the signs as well is if you're doing the same routine. If your Mondays, Tuesdays, if it's the same thing over and over again, your week is the same, your month is the same, then you're being a bit complacent there.
Okay, but then that one there, doesn't it counteract the whole having a schedule and knowing what you're doing?
You can have a schedule to grow. So my routine will be to constantly adapt and improve. And if that's your routine, you'll be moving forward. But if your routine isn't something that's improving and it's just a circle that's going back and you know what I mean? Then
that key difference needs to be highlighted. You know, you come back from work, you sit down and you wanna watch a movie for the rest of the night. And tomorrow you wake up and you go back to work. Same thing, repeat. You know? That is the routine that you shouldn't have.
You go to work and you make the company money and you improve the company, and that CEO is benefiting off your work. Then you go home and you don't work on yourself. You know,
bro, you update your iPhone software on a regular basis, but you don't update your internal software, or you don't update your own mind, your spiritual side. You don't update your money. You don't there's no update, whatever, physically. You know,
mentally,
financially, nothing. There's no update. You're more focused on the outside things, and that's when the outside things change. That's when you start to get hit with that thing that you don't even expect. So it's always good to proactively work on each and everything that's happening in your life. Like proactively work in your marriage. Like you take your car out for a service, even though there's nothing wrong with it. You take it out for a service
to make sure that it lasts longer.
Yeah, exactly, and that's part of being proactive. So one of the signs is, as he said, if your routine is the same and you're not constantly growing and you're not updating.
So we've got being reactive versus being proactive. We've got the routine,
and I think some people realize it because everyone else starts moving forward. You know, those people that are like, oh, my friends are getting married, or they're having businesses, and they're moving around the world and they're traveling, and then like, I still got that same job. I'm sitting in the same. So that's when some people kind of realize, oh snap, I'm in a routine.
And I think generally you find yourself most complacent in that early to mid 20s.
I think it's once you come out of uni, or once you're finishing your studies.
Because it's a very confusing age. You've got friends that are still in uni, some that started their own business, some that are married with kids, and then you're just like, where do I fit in? And like you said, once you see people that you grew up, that you used to sit with, probably play games online all the time, now telling you, hey, I'm going to the gym, I've got a work meeting, I've got a business meeting, I've got family, I've got wife. You're just
the thing is, like, I find that a bit inaccurate to try and measure yourself against other people's achievements. And I know what you guys are saying.
You're not measuring yourself.
They were in the same place as you, and they sort of progressed, and you haven't. Right?
Yes, that's when you realize that you've been complacent.
Well, not really. But the thing is, what you should be measuring against is your own self. So if 5 years ago you were here and you've progressed this far, you haven't actually become complacent. You've actually tried to work towards it, right? If you're measuring against somebody else's achievements, they're working at a different pace, at a different rate.
True. But that's why I say your friends, because he might be progressing further than I am, but putting less effort in because of the situation he's in. But because he's your friend, you know that. I know this person, I know how much effort he's putting in. So if I see Haji putting in way more effort and progressing, and I know the effort I'm putting in, that's when you know you're being complacent. Not what he's achieved. Because he could have achieved something, because you know how life is, man. Life is different for everybody. But if I know that he's putting in that work, Like, you know, if Haji comes to me and goes, hey, look, I got this business idea, let's do this, let's do that, and I'm complacent, I say I'm fine, and I don't put in that work, and then 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I see him moving, I know it's not because of the position that he, like his life or luck or anything I know it's because of the work he put in, and I didn't put any of that work.
Yeah,
that's when you can go, I'm being complacent. So measure against, like you said, the progress and the effort rather than the position you're actually in, because everyone's starting line is sometimes different as well, you know what I mean, and their position,
and sometimes you don't see the fruits of your labor till afterwards. But you know, the effort is there, and you can track the effort and you can track the progress. You know if you've gone to the gym every single day or not. But it's okay whether like you haven't got the results or whatever to show for it. And that's just probably like another that's probably the other topic. That's the other topic that you wanted to discuss. The perfect practice makes you know, perfect. But
that's very important.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, if you look at complacency, like that attitude in itself, Islamically, it's like
it's talked about.
It's definitely talked about. It's been practiced, and a lot of people don't necessarily know it, or I haven't heard many lectures about people who are, you know, like discussing this topic of complacency.
I haven't heard much too, because what I think it is when you're complacent.
I think it is, but
in a different sense.
In a very subtle way.
That's what I'm getting at. Where when people talk about complacency, they don't talk about the attitude and the mindset of being complacent. They talk about the achievements. So if I said, oh, you haven't achieved this, you haven't gone to the mosque, you haven't done that, what's wrong? You know, you hear those lectures rather than, hey, why don't you fix your attitude and your mindset of being proactive rather than reactive? Because if you find yourself being complacent, it isn't as easy as just go do out what you need to do. It's changing that mindset and that thought process is the reason why we always go back to episode 1.
That as well as exactly that as well. Going back to episode 1, that's exactly what I was going to start off with. Power of thought, right? So when you hear lectures or when you hear things, you start to pick out different lessons from the same, maybe one phrase or one.
Because you're thinking about it different.
You're thinking about it different, right? You will always hear, for example, when the Prophet ﷺ says, you know, ask Allah for paradise, and when you do, ask Him for the highest level, for example. Don't be just happy with bare minimum. Don't be just comfortable where you're at or what you think you can achieve. Aim higher. That sort of pushes you out of that complacency point. As well as just right now, you've got, for example, salah. You know, your sunnahs, your for example, fasting. You've got the Monday and Thursdays. Like, if you just do your fard salahs, your 5 times a prayer a day, you're just there. But then that sunnah is there to take you out of that place where you do more. You know,
exactly.
All these little things.
If you're doing the sunnah, the fards become easier to do.
That whole program is in place.
Exactly. And the rewards of it is far greater than what you would think. You know what I mean? And you've got the Monday, Fridays, Monday and Thursday, I think it is. Mondays and Thursdays? Monday, Thursday. Sunnah, voluntary fasting. You know what I mean? Whereas you're only required to do the month. You know what I mean? But that's there to help you, you know, maintain it throughout the year. So like,
to be proactive.
And it's not discussed as per se as a topic where you go to a lecture about complacency. But again, if you start to think about things differently, it's there. Hidden.
It's not highlighted pretty much.
It's also like entwined with the idea of gratitude. And I touched on it earlier. But if you think about it, like, look, you've got the Prophet ﷺ, for example. Now, he was guaranteed that all his past mistakes, present and future sins, whatever, even though we know the Prophet ﷺ, all the prophets are infallible. They don't sin. But he was given that assurance by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all his sins will be forgiven, the past, present, future, whatever. That's the first level. And then you've got the second level, which was he's guaranteed paradise. Right? We have not been guaranteed paradise. We have not been given that assurance of all our sins are forgiven.
Not only that, he was shown his place as well.
So that's the third level. He was shown his place. And then you've got the highest level, which is no one is to enter paradise until he enters it first. You understand? That means that's a double guarantee that don't worry about Jannah. It's not like you're going to enter last or whatever.
You're the first.
You're the first to enter. So even Jannah, the door would not open until you are ready. You understand? So that's that level. And even then, he was the most hardest working. But then when Aisha radiallahu anha asked him, you have been given all of this, all of these promises. Why do you continue to work yourself so hard? He said, should I not be a grateful servant? So the only way to show gratitude is by going after what you want in this dunya and in the akhirah, and to not be complacent. It's about going every single day, setting targets for yourself and actually achieving them, and going more. And what you're given with, you say alhamdulillah, you say thank God, you be grateful, but then you go and pursue more.
Yeah, man, following your point, man, I think a thought that just hit my mind now, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't think about, is the fact that you shouldn't be complacent due to the simple fact that your parents have invested a lot in you. 15, 20 years of hard work. They've put their ambitions and dreams aside to feed you, clothe you, put you through school, and then you hit 20 and all you want to do is go work at, some mediocre job, come home, stay home, play games all day.
That's for the ones that have been born here. What about the ones where their parents
brought them
with them,
and went through all of that ducking war and everything.
That's tough,
to give you a better life. Especially like you look at our parents, like they came to this country when they were roughly our age, or around that. You know what I mean? And for them not to pursue their careers and dreams and whatnot, and start working immediately to try and learn the language, to build a family, because we were pretty much born when our parents came here. You know what I mean? So it's not like they decided to have us when they came here. You know what I mean? They brought us with them. They've probably no doubt they've had dreams of their own, you know what I mean? But some of those dreams had to be put on the back seat so that they could provide for us, for the family, you know what I mean? And when you're complacent and you're just working at that, or operating at that base level, I don't think it does any justice to the hard work that
you're not living up to their
expectations. You're not, one, being grateful, and two, you're not pursuing all the options and opportunities that were given to you that they didn't have, you know what I mean? I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think everyone has, they don't know what they can achieve. And the only way you know what the maximum you can achieve is to always keep striving.
Exactly.
Like you can't stop, because the second you stop, you don't know if you can go further. You know what I mean? So when you're complacent, you're literally limiting your life. You're putting a cap on yourself, which is pretty unfair, especially like you said, to the parents and to the people that have invested in you.
Exactly. And the second part of this topic was perfect practice makes perfect. And that being the key to get out of complacency. What does perfect practice makes perfect mean, if you were to pretty much dumb it down?
If I had to dumb it down, well, normally people say practice makes perfect. Like a lot of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people know that it's perfect practice makes perfect. And the reason why you have to put that perfect into it, because if you're not practicing the right way, if you're not doing it the right way, you could actually be detrimental to yourself. You could be doing things, because you could be going to the gym and you could be working out incorrectly the whole time, and you'll have problems later down the line. Or you could be, saving incorrectly or putting money into somewhere where you haven't did the prior work and knowledge and research about, and the next thing you know, your money is gone, or you haven't invested it wisely. Like you could have put it somewhere else. You know what I mean? So the first thing you need to do is to sit back and go, look, if I'm going to move forward, it's going to be a challenge. I'm going to be uncomfortable. You got to understand that change is uncomfortable. Then do your research. Do your research, understand what you need to do, set those minimum goals like we talked about with goal setting, don't bite more than you can chew. And I reckon the best thing you need to know is no one can ever be perfect. But the reason why perfect is in there, because you always have to practice. You know what I mean? Because if you stop practicing, you will never get near perfection. So some people will say, I'm good, I made it, I practiced so much, and I got it down pat now. And then they stop, they're complacent. They're going right back to being complacent again.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I think also just touching on the fact that if you don't do it the right way, because perfect practice is perfecting the practice, as in like your technique, and the process and the way you do things, right? If, for example, you're a ball player, say, right, and you're trying to shoot for 4 hours a day, but you're shooting with the wrong technique.
It's not going to work.
That means the only thing you've perfected is your ability to shoot the wrong way. And to try and unlearn that is a lot harder than trying to learn a whole new process.
You go a little bit deeper than that too. Some people I see, because I like to play basketball, they'll be shooting all day and they're completely fine. Then they go into a game, and towards the end of the game, they're dead tired and they can't shoot. Yeah. So you got to practice for the situation as well. Yeah. So you got to practice like it's game time. Yeah. You know, because if you're not practicing like it's game, like some people will go, "I've got an interview coming up, I should practice," and they'll just sit there and read a piece of paper. You know, then they go into the interview and they're sweating bullets. Yeah. Why didn't you get a friend to sit across from you, put the paper down, like do it, like you said, perfectly, perfect that practice.
And the thing is, like that technique, the only way you can do it is if you actually learn how you learn, right? For example, if you know the way that you learn is through an auditory way, then learn that way, but also try and perfect the way the information that you get, and try and perfect your practice, right? If you learn through somebody visually showing you how to do things, right? Then get a trained eye to actually oversee whatever. A classic example: if you're trying to learn Quran, for example, and try and memorize the Quran, doing it by yourself is a lot harder as opposed to having someone sitting there while you're actually trying to memorize it, right? Because if the book is closed and you're trying to memorize it and you make a mistake, you're not going to correct yourself.
For a very long time, and then, I used to on that point there, I used to never understand how my father. I used to sit there with the kitab and read from the kitab, and I thought, like, okay, I'm reading, like I should know how it goes. And he always used to make me read out loud, and I used to hate it. And then towards the end, I think on my final official lesson with him, he was like, "This is the reason why. You know, if you're sitting there reading by yourself,
you're not going to spot those mistakes.
Exactly, you could be memorizing the mistake. Yeah, you know what I mean, exactly. It might sound correct to you, but it is not correct.
Exactly, and then later on, it's a lot harder to try and unlearn it.
Very hard. Yeah.
So the only thing you've perfected is the wrong way to do it. Yeah. So. Exactly. Yeah, it's all about perfecting that technique, and then on top of that is the most important word is practice. Is that, like you said, you're never going to reach perfection, but you're constantly practicing, and that's why when people ask you, "Are you practicing your religion?" Meaning, are you because nobody's perfect.
How many people say, "Wow, bro, I grew up a Muslim, but I don't need to practice it." Right. You know what I mean? Right. And you look at them like, "Nah, that's not how it works." Yeah. You know, and also like you guys said, imperfect practice makes imperfection.
Yeah. So. And that's why the Sahaba as well, they wrote down everything the most perfect human being did, the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? Yeah. So they wrote it down. Why they have like a benchmark of what is perfect, what is perfection, and then all they have to do is just every day try and get better, try and reach that level, try and get to that level. And they know they're not going to reach the status of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but at least
they could aim for it.
At least they have a benchmark and they know where it is. And if you don't sit too far off from that, then you're okay, kind of, right? So it's all about perfecting it, and it's all about practice, and it's all about knowing the way you learn and trying to perfect that technique as well. Man, that whole sentence, that whole phrase is just jam-packed, but when you unpack it, you unpack so many gems, and you're like, wow, you just sit there and you wonder, because it applies in every aspect of your life.
It's true, man. I think people need to understand that. Try to enjoy that practice. Enjoy that process. Because like you said, you're never going to be perfect. So you're always going to be practicing. And if you enjoy it, and that's the biggest way to do it, is doing it the right way. Like, I know some people, for me, like when I studied in school, I'd had to write it down. If I read it, I could read it over and over again 1,000,000 times. But if I wrote it down 3 times, it would have been stuck in my head.
You know that's knowing how you learn. Exactly. Yeah, and coming to that as well.
Because I know there's been a study where a lot of guys generally learn through practice, physical practice, and doing it, which is the completely opposite what you do in school, which is sitting down for 8 hours, and you know what I mean. So that's why a lot of people just struggle. So if you know that when you go home, don't do the same thing you're doing in school, just sitting down reading that book. You know, go grab a friend, do it something different. And that's with every aspect. Find the way that it works for you, and then enjoy it. Because when you're enjoying that, you know, the travel rather than the destination, because you'll be fine. And if you know you're doing that perfect practice, then you should have no worries or regrets.
And the thing is, like, when we say it applies to every aspect of your life, it doesn't necessarily mean just the hobbies. It doesn't necessarily mean just your interest or the things that only affect you, or just at work. It applies to everything. Like, there's people out there that don't know how to wash the dishes, for example. And the only way you can do it is sit there with your mom or your dad and let them show you how to do it.
Exactly.
And Practice, bro. Why? Because you need it when you're independent and you're trying to live at home and you don't have a dishwasher and you don't have anyone else in there and you're trying to live single.
You've got to do it.
Somebody's got to show you how to do it. Yeah, you can't cook, can't clean. You need to know these things.
I was listening to a Navy admiral talking to his graduating class of that year, and he says, he's like, whenever somebody asks him, can one person change the world? He said, yes, but they've got to start with the smallest thing. So the first thing you do in the morning is make your bed. If you conquer making your bed, you'll conquer everything else. I mean, so like just that point, the fact that you wake up every day without fail, before you leave your room, your bed is made. That is one thing that gives you the confidence that anything else that you decide to put your mind to, you can be dedicated to, consistent, the right way, which leads to perfect practice.
If you can't do the small things,
exactly.
you can't.
Not even that. It just comes back down to everything starts at home. What you do in the house is how you do everything outside. You can't expect to leave a messy house and not take care of your parents, not take care of your children or siblings, and then go outside and be responsible. It just doesn't work like that.
It's frustrating when people can't do the small things, but they expect to do the big things.
Exactly.
But when people try to do the big things, for example, like you come home and you say, listen, you know what, today I want to study, right? But you walk into your room and it's mess.
It's a mess.
The first thing you try to do is, all right, you know what, you still got that hype, I'm going to clean the room. By the time you're done cleaning your room, you're dead tired.
I need to eat.
I need to relax. You know what, I was very productive today. I did one thing, I cleaned my room.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Let me reward myself. 1 movie, 2 movies, tomorrow, the hype dies again, the room gets messy. Back to that same cycle.
Okay, so
but
then
if you do your bed every morning, your room is ready. When you do decide to,
and that's what it comes down to. Making sure that when you clean it all at once, that you have a system to maintain it. Exactly, being proactive.
There was the other saying, like the guy didn't make the nail, so the horseshoe wasn't done properly. Then the horseshoe fell off, so the horse didn't make it. So the message wasn't sent. So the battle was lost. Like small things.
All these small things that affect
it. So absolutely. Do the small things first. Get them out the way.
Absolutely. It's so easy. Like people don't realize the effect that it has on you psychologically, consciously or unconsciously, right?
You get that confidence boost. Get that real confidence.
Especially when you start to break this big project. Like if you look at a project and you're like, okay, this is my life that I've lived for 25 years. I'm not happy with this, and this. And I'm trying to change this, and this. And you look at the big picture.
It's daunting.
And you're like, yo, where do I start? It's crazy. But if you break it down and you're like, okay, well, this, if I do change this a little bit in the morning, that's done. After I come back from work, take 1 hour and do this a day, that's done. After that, I'll take 2 hours for myself. Before I go to sleep, I'll spend half an hour doing this, that's done. That's all you need. It's pretty much those little gaps. And that's it. You're done.
The thing is, what makes it difficult for people to sort of understand and when they see it, they get like, oh no, actually, I don't know how to actually go about it. Is the fact that they see it as something that's not going to benefit them straight away because change is uncomfortable, right? If somebody tells them that there's a movie coming out next week, bro, they're making plans left and right
to make it.
They don't know they've got that time, but they're still making that plan. Okay, so then what? If I tell you that, to improve your life, that all you need to do is just dedicate 2 hours a day to a certain thing, you're already complaining.
You know the funny thing on that movie there, I was at work and we all know that Avengers movie is coming out, I think on the 26th.
Probably, I think it's coming out when this episode
the 26th,
comes out.
Exactly, the 26th, right? And I've tried to work out like a group activity with some of the guys at work. And it never happens, right? But this one movie, everybody was like, yep, I'm down. Like nobody's looked at the calendar. Nobody knows what they're doing in that day, if they've got anything planned or whatnot. But the initial thing is,
it's happening no matter
because
what.
they really want it. If you want it, you'll make the time. I mean,
exactly. So, tell them, let's go to a conference where they're talking about, how to change and impact your life and impact people's lives.
No.
But
if you tell them
it's free as well. Like
it's hard. If you tell them you get $500 out of it, they'll be there. Instant gratification.
That's what it is.
You know what I mean?
Like I said, it's because it's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Going in that, because they know if I go into that meeting, I'm going to spend 2 hours. This guy's going to tell me what I got to do, and then I have to go put that into practice. All of that is uncomfortable. Rather than I'm just going to sit back, relax, and watch a movie.
Complacent.
That's so comfortable for them. They just get complacent. But like we go all the way back to episode 1, thought process. If you know it's going to be uncomfortable and you know what to expect, then it becomes a lot easier.
I think I'll just say this on the record, man. I think this entire podcast is based on that one episode.
All of it.
Thought process.
Yeah. And the power it has and everything. Unleashing your potential
That's where it starts
hinges on that.
Before you do anything, you got to think about it.
Didn't we say if we could change the name, we'll change it to thought process or something like that?
Power thought, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I was a contestant.
Yeah.
But I think that concludes our discussion for the day, man.
Hopefully we haven't been too complacent in this podcast, you know.
Hopefully.
And we're trying to improve. And maybe
we could have after that big meal we had before the
Yeah.
podcast.
Almost.
Yeah, but we're trying to perfect our practice, and we're, you know, we're trying
keep
to
going at this.
Yeah.
Almi, it's your time to shine, baby.
Oh yeah, mate. Where's my paper? Where's my paper?
Don't tell me you lost it.
Yeah, it's here.
You've got it.
Okay, guys.
The infamous paper.
Today I've been very quiet throughout the podcast, but you guys are dropping some absolute gems, man. I was thinking, man, what am I doing with my life?
You're reflecting on it.
I'm reflecting,
That's
and
good.
I was thinking, you know what? Like, just before we get to the game, I was thinking, everything comes down to what you guys saying, thought process. But you gotta have the hustler's mentality, man. You know what I mean?
To just go get it, yeah.
You gotta go get it and just be disciplined, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about hustling, bro. You gotta hustle in life, man. Gotta hustle.
As Almi says, if you don't get it, you ain't gonna get it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, go get it, yeah.
Yeah, man. But all right, I've got
How many questions this time?
7 questions,
Alright.
and
Is that in Somali or in English?
no, this is
Hieroglyphics, man.
I'm like, I can't read
I've
it.
got 7 questions for you guys.
Which is good.
Some of them have
Multiple questions.
multiple
Answers.
answers.
Yeah, go
so
ahead,
you gotta
read it
choose
out.
one, and others you gotta guess the answers. All right.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
None of that. Last goal wins. Nah.
No,
Nah,
no,
last goal wins.
Nah.
Last goal
Otherwise,
wins.
you might as well just ask the last
You guys-
question.
you guys wanna
let's
keep it-
let's keep
Last
it.
goal
we
wins.
keep
Tell you
going,
what.
keep score, we keep
No,
going.
go on. Hey, that's why he chose 7. 6, and last goal wins. Let's go.
The viewers will know who won.
Yeah.
All right, let's
go
let's
ahead.
get into this. Which country is the largest producer of rubber?
Ooh, rubber. Give us a continent so
Yeah,
we can narrow it down.
I think somewhere in Africa.
Which continent produces
Continent or country?
All right, which continent
Oh, that meant that.
manufactures the most things?
Continent.
Which continent?
China. China's
China
big.
is part of-
continent.
Yeah, Asia.
Asia.
It's in that region. That's the first I'll give you. It was somewhere in Asia.
It's somewhere in Asia.
Where all tires made? Well, most tire brands are from.
From tires.
They're made in
Japan?
China,
Where's
but
our
Where they source it from.
Exactly.
Do you want me to
Actually,
narrow it
wrong.
down more? Or?
Yeah, narrow it down.
Southeast or.
Southeast.
Oh, there you go. Narrowed it down to where we're thinking, anyways.
Alright, go ahead. Come on. Just
South,
Say it,
somewhere
say
in
it.
South Asia.
it's not Singapore or Thailand or
No, too
Bali.
small.
I don't think it'll be Vietnam or
No.
Papua New Guinea. Vietnam.
India's not South. Is it Southeast Asia? No.
Papua New Guinea.
India's
Vietnam?
just Asia.
I was
Alright.
gonna say China.
China.
He said Southeast Asia, didn't you?
Vietnam.
So,
You see what I
alright,
mean?
let's keep it at Asia.
See what I mean?
If
Alright.
he says China, but who knows?
Who
China.
knows? I
Oh.
don't know.
I don't know Papua New Guinea. No, not Papua New Guinea. Vietnam, maybe.
You're gonna start Sri
Tires,
Lanka?
I'm just wondering. Producer
Sri
of
Lanka?
tires.
Fiji,
Nah, Vietnam.
Vietnam,
Vietnam.
Vietnam. So we got
China. Vietnam.
China, Vietnam,
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Man, damn.
Vietnam.
Nah, alright, I don't know.
This one, don't worry about
I'm just gonna go with India.
Yeah.
India.
I love that
I
last
said
one.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Ah,
I don't know.
yeah. Well, I don't
You
know.
said China.
No, you said
Okay.
China, and then
But I said
You said China as an example, and
As
then
an
you said
example.
Southeast Asia.
But
Alright,
I give out the
Southeast
country.
Asia. All right, then
I don't
most
know.
of these, in fact, all of these countries are not in Southeast Asia, so there's no point.
Whatever.
So pick a
Wait,
Southeast Asian country. then.
Papua New Guinea's
I'll say Sri Lanka.
You say Sri Lanka.
Southeast Asia, Sri Lanka.
Wait, East.
Southeast
So-
Asia. I'm talking
Southeast is like Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia. You've got Laos. You've got what else?
Hey, can we get
Indonesia.
Papua New Guinea.
I'm gonna go with Indonesia, bro.
Indonesia.
Papua New Guinea.
I want Malaysia.
My brother.
I was naming all I said is, I was about to name Malaysia, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna go with Malaysia.
Whatever you choose, I'm picking the country next to it. That's it.
At least someone got it right.
Yeah,
Let's go.
The Black Pearl.
It's
Black Pearl.
by what pirate?
Which famous person is known as the Black Pearl?
Famous person.
Or individual?
What industry? Are we talking acting,
Music.
filming, music? What, like?
You'll see this individual on TV.
Black Pearl.
Black Pearl.
So he must be some sort of actor then.
Very famous person, Black Pearl.
I know Black Jesus, but not Black Pearl. I'm serious.
Nah, I don't know,
He
bro.
plays sports. That's the furthest I'm going to go.
Oh, okay.
Black Pearl, very famous sports. Black
Bro, I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Even I
Tiger
knew
Woods?
this. As soon as I read the question, I already knew the answer before I searched the answer, bro.
Could be Tiger Woods.
Could be Tiger Woods. Pearl.
Black
Ball.
Pearl, come on.
Sports, Michael Phelps.
Black Pearl.
Who knows, bro?
Never know.
Maybe it's not about a
Swimmer.
skin color.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
I can't believe. How can you guys not know this,
MJ,
man?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan does say Black Jesus.
I don't know.
All right, just. Oh, whoops, my bad.
I don't know.
Throw out. What's your answer?
Give us a narrow score.
Just throw it in here.
Tiger.
Tiger
Tiger
Woods.
I already said Tiger.
Narrow it
Nah,
down.
Tiger.
If I narrow it down to a sport, you guys might get it.
Yeah.
So
I'd say
you
Tiger.
Tiger,
Yeah,
Tiger.
Like I said.
I'm going with basketball, so Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, the Black Pearl.
I don't know, bro. I know
Who is
the
it?
Black Mamba, Kobe,
That's
but
Kobe.
you know what I mean?
Who's it?
It's Pele, bro.
Oh,
I didn't know
what?
Black Pearl.
I don't know he was called that.
They just call him the Black Pearl, man.
Did you watch the documentary on Netflix?
No. I knew it from ages back, man.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, Pele, bro. Black Pearl.
All right.
Because if I said football, you guys would have said.
I still
would
go Pele. Me.
Because
Like,
you said
I
Pele.
would've been like-
Pele.
I think
Pele's
I
the
said
greatest.
when
No,
you-
I know about
Yeah.
Pele, but I didn't know
I didn't know
that
his
was his
nickname.
nickname.
Black
Pearl.
Black Pearl.
How many bones on a adult human?
300.
333.
Yeah, I was gonna say 330. 335 is it, or was that when you were a kid and then it fuses? 335.
333, 335.
I'm going 3.
Go right in the middle. Go right in the middle.
I actually don't know, but I think it's around the
I don't know
340s.
exactly.
Or maybe
340.
360. So it's 340. I'll go
340?
Yeah.
You guys are all completely wrong.
Yep.
What is it?
Is it 267?
2 something.
206.
There you
206.
go, 2
I
something.
knew I had a
Closest.
6. I knew I had a
206.
6.
You should give us questions that we can figure out the answer rather than you have to know. it
It's
before.
alright, man. It's alright.
You know?
Go ahead.
Please.
Next one. Next one.
Go on.
Go.
Next question is how.
All I know is I'm still one.
What
nil.
does D represent in the Roman numeral system?
You said that
A.
one last week?
Nah, go on. Nah, he didn't.
You
That
did.
was-
That was C.
That was C.
But then we already know what D is.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
what I
1,000.
mean. So just go on to the next
That
question.
is
Okay, next question.
Next question.
All right. What was the first animal that humans domesticated for food?
For food.
First animal.
For food.
For food. Domesticated.
For food?
Yeah, as in like actually put in a pen. I think it's like actual like
I think
As
farm
in, they put in a farm so they can eat it.
agriculture. Like
Cow.
put into a pen and I'll say goats.
Cattle, goat,
sheep, bro.
Sheep?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, come on, bro. You serious?
They're more widespread than sheep are.
Okay. Fair
Where's the
enough.
goats?
Yeah,
Cattle is it take a little longer.
All right.
because you find goats everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the only country through which both the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn
The only
pass?
continent.
The equator and
The only country.
The only country where the Tropic of Capricorn and the equator pass.
Either Brazil or Argentina.
yeah.
Ecuador.
No. No.
Which one you pick? I'll pick the
Brazil.
other.
Brazil.
I think it was
What, Brazil?
Argentina.
He's already smiling. I don't know. I'll just go Ecuador.
Brazil. There you go.
This guy was like Brazil, Ecuador. I was like, man, this guy's on the money.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Last question.
Let's go win.
You can either tie it up.
Last
or-
goal wins. If you guys do not answer this question right,
Don't put that pressure
Hey,
on
we
us.
are.
Don't put that
Don't put
pressure
that
on
pressure.
us. Don't put that
you
pressure.
should be ashamed of yourself.
Why? What's?
What?
Okay, so it must be a Somali related question.
Somalia.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, Australia.
Okay.
Alright,
Yeah.
go ahead.
What is
Go.
it?
Which country were bananas first grown in?
Uganda.
Which country was bananas
could
first
be a
grown
trick.
in?
It's definitely not Somalia. Come on.
I'm gonna give you options. Whoops, I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, alright.
Options, my bad.
I think
my bad.
Somalia is one of the
Have you
options
guys
to trick
done
us.
A. Brazil. B.
Okay.
India. C. Somalia. D. Australia.
Come on.
And I'm not
I'll
gonna
say
give
India.
If you any answers or anything,
It's more tropical.
It's all over
So
the
he
place.
He said
Place.
bananas closer to the
He
equator.
said India, Brazil,
India, Brazil, Somalia,
Somalia, or
Australia.
I'm gonna say India. It's a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking India too.
Yeah, just it's more towards the equator.
No, and plus, like in
More-
terms of history, I think India would have been
before
before
Somalia.
Somalia, Australia, and,
Definitely before Australia.
and Brazil as well.
Australia can't. It could be Australia because up north they have. A lot
I'm
of
gonna take the
bananas.
experts' advice
Take
and
Australia.
go with.
Take Australia.
Don't forget about Queensland.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Up north they do have it.
Where all
It definitely
bananas
has to be
come from,
closer
bro?
to the equator.
No, but what I mean is like, where
In
was
terms
found?
It was found first.
So what was
Where's
the
Where was the first grown? Where was the first grown?
Yeah, it won't
So
be
obviously where
grown
it was
here.
found.
Yeah.
Grown or found? Because grown it won't be here because there were
Tropical though.
no. But yeah,
Queensland
up
is
north.
quite tropical.
No, but what I mean is grown. The indigenous people didn't grow it; they were hunter-gatherers. It probably would have been grown in India because they would have been a bit more developed.
Okay, what was the
You
first
know what,
found?
alright,
I'm putting my
just-
finger
I just say India. Just go. One of you guys say Australia.
You're going India.
I'm going India. Yeah. That was my first.
Last goal wins. Remember this. You
Nah,
can win a
mate.
goal together. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
You
it's
can
either
be in the
me and
same
Haji
team.
tie up. I
Bruh,
win.
just pick a
Big country.
Yeah.
The
Pick
last
one. I'll see what's left.
Spreading the board here. I love it. Spread the board.
So what'd you pick?
India.
Alright, because you've already picked that.
'Cause
I'm
here's
not
the
going
thing,
to.
he said-
I believe you, and I actually feel like
Go
it is
for it
India.
because him saying we should know that might just be a trick on
could be a
Australia or
trick.
Somalia. You know what I mean? Because we're Somali and we were. born
Alright,
here
look,
before
look.
him.
I'll go with India, man.
Yeah.
India,
Forget
India.
that.
I'm going
So
India.
you're all Indians. All right, my brothers. Congratulations.
There you go. Don't try to
won-
trick me,
You guys
man.
won everything.
Nah, mate, I got 3.
Now
Last
let's
goal
go
wins
win.
Let's
everything.
go
So
win.
we all
No,
won. So
No, I'm thinking about
but
W.
No, but the reason why I say that because they
It
would have
makes more
found.
sense.
But you guys
they
had
would've
very.
found India
Because
first.
they had to be closer to the
Yeah.
equator
Yeah.
because it's more tropical, and then where would it be found first?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
actually.
That's why.
That's
why
what I
she-
mean. You can
Good
deduce
stuff,
that
man. I
one.
love those
I was,
questions,
trying,
those
bro.
type of
I was trying to
questions.
get you guys off with the tropics of Capricorn with Brazil. You know.
No, but
Good work, man. That was a good question.
that was some fun questions, man. You know what? Matter of fact, next week I will run the questions. I want to see Omi participate.
Yeah, that's actually.
I'll run the
Ooh,
questions
okay.
next
I
week.
know all the answers for all the questions, man.
No. Not these
really?
questions.
Really?
I will run the questions next week. I will host the game next week.
All right.
But on that
forward to
note, man, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your continuous love and support. We appreciate it as from the podcast boys.
Yeah.
Catch you guys next week.
Adios.